Hey everyone, it's your pal Drew Dracy, and I'm back low at long last. I'm going to cover the Valkyrie, who started off in the Avengers, stopped at the Hulk, and then became a Defenders staples for 10 years. Let's get to the beginning, shall we? This came out fall of 1970. And what's interesting about it, I love her hand on his head. Great pose. What's interesting is this is quite timely because it was only starting in the 70s, late 60s, that women were starting to voice their displeasure at being in subsequent, subversive roles at the office. And little by little, you started to see more and more women come to prominence. Now, it took a long time, but the beginnings were around here. I'm not saying it started with this book. I'm just saying this was a reflection on the times. Now, the other thing that really, really helped was Mary Tyler Moore. She was a very prominent woman who was a professional. And it just opened a lot of people's eyes. It was a great show. It was humorous, but it was also serious when it came to her job. So that's the spirit in which this is written. I don't know if Mary Tyler Moore came before this, after this, and there were other shows in between that may have influenced it. But the Wasp shows up at Avengers Mansion, and she meets this new character called the Valkyrie. Come on in, the revolution's fine. That's a very corny name. It's like saying, come on in, the water's fine, like when you're at a pool and you're swimming and such. But anyway, I love the design of the Valkyrie. I wish they hadn't changed it so much. They got really uptight about the metal chest plates, but John Buscema and Roy Thomas, I think together they came up with this costume because the costume is fitting to the opera singers who would do Wagner. So it was, it wasn't a cheesecake thing. It was just being realistic or a proximity of such. Anyway, this pose, minus with paste up work, and her pose there were both used for so many things, like stickers and 7-Eleven cups and odds and ends. What's interesting is Medusa's there. She's never had anything to do with the Avengers. You have Wanda, who's already been there. And Black Widow hadn't shown up in a long time because she, back in the Dawn Heck days, she still had the dark hair, the black hair with the old black fishnet costume. And she left because the Avengers didn't fully trust her because she was a defected Soviet spy. So, let's see. Excuse me. Well, what she does is she speaks of, male dominance, and, they have to represent themselves, downfall of male supremacy. She used to be a lab assistant, and she's dismissed. If I have need of a secretary, I shall call you. She's working late, and she gets knocked out by her own gas that she had created. And now, male chauvinist pigs, beware! I'd be running for the hills. And there's not a videotape, but back then you used a film camera, and it was Yellow Jacket and Quicksilver sort of tend to get the top billing. So, and she even dunks on Black Bolt. She says, "Your precious Black Bolt does not even speak, yet you hang upon his every non-syllable." That's a great line. Well, what happens is they go out to straighten out the dudes, and this is at Rutland, Vermont. This was a thing that some of the Marvel bullpen went to. It became a thing where this is really before comic conventions became a thing. I mean, comic conventions were basically in the basement, and you would get comic books, and there usually wasn't a guest, because when I was a kid, that's what comic cons were. You know, you went in the basement, got some cool sales, go through the quarter box. But Rutland Vermont, they went all out. They were like the first cosplay sort of event. And answer the door, Doomsy. Get it yourself, Claude. Victor Dom Doom is no man's lackey. They're just totally getting into it. Well, there is Tom Fagan, who arranged all this stuff. Roy Thomas and his first wife. And they're getting ready to go on the float. I don't know if they still do that or not, because I don't think Tom Fagan's still around, or else we'd hear more about it in the press. Well, lots of cool fighting going on, and of course, Goliath is almost always helpless. It makes me kooky. I mean, he should be the most powerful character. Well, the bad guys are taking down the males, and here comes the females to the rescue. And then they turn on the other heroes, Black Widow versus Black Panther. Zippers. Up against the wall, male chauvinist pigs. Bam. Love that image. So she's like, here's the device the Masters of Evil were after. The experimental parallel time projector, powered by the energy unit I always keep on my side. And thus far, it's untried, untested. When it's turned on, I don't know if it will prove my theories or explode. And they're like, what the hell? This is what I desire. Your parallel time device itself. Valkyrie, do not call me that name any longer. The time for pretense is past. She is the Enchantress. I love that pose. It's like the most smug kind of gotcha pose. It's just really clever. Good job of acting. She was exiled with the Executioner by Big Daddy Odin. And this other woman came along, and she stole the Executioner, he was kind of cucked. He was kind of like, he loved the Enchantress, but she sort of liked him a lot, and she used him as a dupe more often than not. And I love that. Now that image right there, I would say Helena Bonham Carter would do great with that face. So she couldn't get back. She's going to use the gadget. And Wanda saves the day, as she does a lot. Great character. And the guys and gals just kind of rah. So, first appearance. And then we go to... I love these epic collections. Aren't they beautiful? I like the coloring too. It's modern, but it's educated. I hate seeing images where, like, say on that right there, there'll be just a white dot, or there'll be just a white dot. I don't know why. It looks like the reverse image of, like, the Terminator hitting a red light on someone he's about to shoot. So the second time the Valkyrie shows up, it's still not the Valkyrie. And you gotta say male chauvinist pig. Don't make it a drinking game, because you're gonna hear a lot of that. They shoot Hulks, don't they? And we got Trimpy and Severin doing their magic. So, the intention. Oh, anyway. They're going to... Tom Wolfe and all these snobbish upper crust people are having a party for the Hulk, because it's just like so outrageous. Isn't he just adorable, Elizabeth? He's been saying that all day. Of course, he doesn't mean a word of it. And what happens is there's this young girl who is daughter of one of the privileged families, and she helped talk him down off the Statue of Liberty, but he was a dickhead, took all the credit in front of the press. So she's like, I can't believe it. My own folks playing the fireman on the social ladder. So she's understandably pissed off. Why give parties for the Hulk while women are still the real victims of society? Right on, sister. Well, here comes the Enchantress. She's like, la da di da, I shall find me a female to inhabit. Vengeful Valkyrie. It's just a little silly thing here, but it's fun. Well, they give him all this money. Hulk, that is. Oh, this Hulk doesn't understand. This is just money and paper. What is the Hulk to do with scraps of paper? Allow me to explain. Up against the wall, male chauvinist pig. She starts kicking ass. Then Tom Wolfe comes in and talks. That's a very Roy Thomas thing, like takes you out of the story. But it's fun in this case. It can be done right, and I think he did it right there. Well, the Hulk's like, yeah, I won't hit a girl. And she's like, I'll kick your fucking ass. So she's about to toss him off a building. And so she throws it. What have I done? There's a man, a human being within that grotesque green shell, and I've killed him. And finds out it hadn't happened. On guard monstrosity. That's ridiculous there because on guard is a French term. And I don't think Asgardians, they were German, they weren't French. But the spell dissipates, it just didn't work out the Valkyrie. The Enchantress wanted it to. And now we go to the omnibus. Okay, this is the first one, I think. Yeah, because it has 3 issues that they always include in Defender collections, and it's issue of the Hulk, issue of the Defenders, and issue of Submariner. And they were going to be the original Defenders. Roy was working on Stan to make this happen. So, but Stan was he was getting into like the LA scene and the college scene, and he was distracted. But there is the Nightcrawler, who became the Darkcrawler. Now, we will see who will be the host body of the Valkyrie for over a decade. Bruce Banner, he's sacked out, and here comes a couple people take him up. Really, I like that a lot, and it's Herb Incan himself. Now, here we go. First appearance. And they use the name Jack. Jack Norris becomes a major player later in this in these issues of Defenders. It takes years, but you'll find out now. But at the time, he's known simply as Jack. And there's Barbara. So little ditty about Jack and Barbara, and so they swore an oath. And, first we only did it as a lark for kicks, It's useless talking about it. They were in a cult. That was like a thing for a while. And as, just like communes and everything. Just a lot of, after, I would say, before, during, and after the Rolling Stones played Altamont, there were a lot of people who just didn't know where to go with their lives. They couldn't, and the national mood was just so screwy that this kind of nonsense came up. So anyway, these vapors knock him out. Barbara's offering them to him. Let's see. He gets on a spinning wheel. Why did I use this page? I'm trying to see. Anyway. He gets transported. Doctor Strange is like I'll tell you later. He's in a portal. He has a purpose, okay? It's like some mad, fantastic nightmare. I'm on some tiny island in a world that Salvador Dali might have painted. And he's like, what's that? Closer. I'm getting closer. My salamander. It's the original Nightcrawler. But Barbara is like, no, Van Nyborg, we must not. I see now that we've been wrong to serve you in our mad quest. So, Sister Barbara, you would defy us? The way your ears are staring. What are you going to do to me? Well, they take her away, and they bring her to the same fate as Bruce Banner. Love that. Oh, I didn't leave a post-it note. It's mostly the Hulk anyway. What happens here is that Doctor Strange, the last time he was seen, I think it was in, I don't know where it was, he was blocking a dimensional portal with his own, excuse me, cough drop, with his own sorcery, and it was going to invite demons into our world, so he was like at the area that, he's fending them off. But he gets set free because she sacrificed herself. Van Nyborg told me about your sacrifice to save a world which shunned you. Could I do no less? I who helped the helpless Bruce Banner to unknown realms. So, go way ahead. The Defenders 3. And the team is Doctor Strange, Hulk, Submariner, and the Silver Surfer, which is interesting because for a long time Stan had he had a no but other writer policy. So Steve Englehart with Jim Mooney. I don't like the combination, but that's okay. I like Jim Mooney on a lot of stuff, but so they're hanging out doing all that stuff. And I saved this. Why? I don't know. Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Yes. Nay, may the keeper of the ways transcend the vast ascensions, allowing us to tread upon the gate of locked dimensions. Whoa, man. Then they are one with the universe. Then the multiverse. Maybe the first mention of multiverse. I don't know, but I've read a lot of Marvel comics in the Bronze Age, and I don't think I've ever read that. So there's Barbara. She's like, okay, I've been covering for you for a long time, Strange, but I'm so... At last, other people were so late. It was so lonely. It was horrible. Please get me out of here. So they're trying to get her out. And they managed to do it. Here, Barbara, take my hand. A human hand, to touch, after having no other humans for all the cosmos. Oh, hold me tightly, please. I need someone of my own kind to hold me. So he's holding her. And then, it's not important why there's fighting and stuff like that, but everyone climb aboard. There she is. And you see a little bit of... I saved this only because it is a small enough gesture of gratitude for your struggle. What of Hulk? No one thanks Hulk. That's great. Great. Well, they've been tricked. What happens is... Barbara Norris, she becomes a part of the Nameless One. The Nameless One possesses her, a shape out of nightmares, a lurker from psychosis, a living embodiment of horror. Such was meant before, and such it is now. Before it only had 2 heads, now it has 3. So she was in a vulnerable state, and this demon came along and added her psyche, her knowledge, and just everything to make things worse. Yes, full. Like my now forgotten hopes of rescue from this realm, I truly meant to be noble and brave, but I freed you and the Hulk, but loneliness is a terrible thing. After months of it, I was willing to do anything for companionship, even to my captors, even becoming my captor's mate. So she mated with one of those demons. Don't ask me how, not important. Woman, you were to drain their powers, force them to waste their energy in the false prison of Maelstrom. I did. Then why did they resist? I don't know. So she's like, really? She's ready to gobble up. He's like, I want some sushi. I want it to keep wiggling. That's how fresh I want it. So, she's still... And this is Barbara Norris. Still. She gets freed, and she goes, she's driven mad. Because... unless her forced choice of mating with that monster god was a choice she'd grown happy with. That's some dark shit. I mean, Sal Buscema is drawing this like a regular comic book, but, if there was like a heavy inker like Steve Lee Aloha, who I don't know if it was even around at the time, that would have been really good, like, just dangerous kind of whatever. See, and she's insane. It's driven her insane, her mortal body. And Silver Surfer has to make it all about him. Wherever he flies alone. It's like, yeah, take your complaining butt elsewhere. Well, this is issue 4. And first appearance, I think that is... I know it's 8 by Frank Giacoya, but I don't know if it's Buscema. It might be Buscema. Yeah, it kind of looks Buscema-esque. Inks by Frank McLaughlin, who I love. And... so the Hulk blames stupid magician for her insanity. And yes, he's wearing an earring. That's because during the time this book came out, Bill Everett came back to Submariner, and he had his little cousin, Namor's little cousin, Namorita, give him a ring to contact her, to stay in contact. So they go inside this castle where the Hulk was, and they find the Executioner. And action ensues, yada yada yada. My troops be dolts. Months have I spent training them, yet one lone foe doth hold his own. But I have gained favor in this unnatural land, and thus gained unnatural powers. That's why I be the Executioner. You recognize him from about a zillion old stories? Really? They get thrown in to a dungeon. There is Barbara. She's just pretty much comatose. But you also see, you will see the Black Knight and the Enchantress. God, I have a long way to go on this. I appreciate your patience on this. This covers up how she got back out. It's really a long story. And how's she well, let me start it, okay? Wow, 23 minutes into this already. Her wrath led to her many schemes. She was delivered into the captivity of Zeus. Feat in which I helped, but the old Olympian regent is old and needs his rest, and so she came. Quickly, she escaped and went to Black Knight's home in Garrett Castle. Behold! I have need of weapons of courage. Perhaps we shall retrieve the Executioner from the cloying embraces of my rival. You must be dreaming, bird. I'm not your accomplice. I'm not your love. So she'll, so that sends him over the moon. He's like, okay, baby. I don't think I would say baby to her. So Barbara's still comatose. But perfect. You could always attempt to stop me, I suppose, but since the Executioner's spells hold all of us in our cells, I ask you how. And here we are. The Valkyrie is born. And she whoops some ass with the rest of the team. Love that. He's like, I know not who thou be made, but thou shalt soon learn my name. Bam! This was a punch. He's down, he's beating, the day is ours. She tries to stop, whatever her name is. and I can't hurt a woman. That is the spell that the enchantress gave, that she cannot fight another woman without causing great internal damage to herself. So she kisses the Black Knight. Gratitude and the demonstration of this, a monument of sorts to the eternal love I can inspire. Solid stone. Perhaps I can help. I was born of the enchantress's mind. I may be able to counter her. You? But I thought you said you hate men. Why should you join us? I do not hate men, Submariner. I merely know I'm as good as they are. Really good. And she tries to kiss this stone Black Knight. No luck. The Aragorn, the steed of the Black Knight, is now owned by... I mean, it's basically given... It's a given that she gets Aragorn, the Valkyrie. I thought Black Knight was kind of boring anyway. Don't tell anybody. Looks strange. Aragorn has accepted her. Sure, he's a smart animal. Though he loves the knight with every fiber, he knows he needs someone to care for him. And without going chauvinist on you, I do seem to have a rapport with horses. I just wish I hadn't met him under these circumstances. She says, I think we'll come along with you and I'll be a member of the Defenders. Wait a minute, there's no members. This isn't the Avengers. Which is funny because they basically stayed together as a team through most of the 70s. So the whole term non-team they gave it was always silly to me. It just meant that they didn't have meetings and membership drives. That's about it. That's what separates them from the Avengers and other supergroups. Okay, now on to the next book. Now we go to Defenders 17, and they're at Kyle Richmond's writing academy. Nighthawk had reformed. He was a bad guy, and then he became a good guy, got a better costume, and kind of changed his personality more. He kind of had an evil type, kind of, typical villain stuff, and then he just turned into a nice guy. So he falls off, but he has a jetpack. Oops. Shit. Good thing this is a bad shaped comic. I can live with that. Holy cow, would you look at that? Is my attire in proper fashion, my friends? I mean, do I look acceptable? Wow. That's a great... I love that whole outfit. Acceptable, lady. You're an absolute knockout, except for one detail. Cover girls for Vogues don't usually wear swords strapped to their hips. Oh, but Dragon Fan is a part of mine, and I feel undressed without it. I can figure that out. And he makes it invisible. And, thank you for the loan, the limousine, Nighthawk. It will make going simpler, though no easier. I do not want to leave you all, but until I've learned all there is about Barbara, the girl whose body I now inhabit, my life will be incomplete. Yet I swear to you that when I found the answers, I will return, and you are always welcome. There will always be a place for you. And she says her goodbyes. And he turns around and gives her a smooch in the face. Kind of a dick move. And she just kind of sloughs it off. And I will miss you, all of you. I will never know friends more true. And the Hulk gets pissed off. It's like, why is she leaving? Hulk doesn't need a whole lot of incentive to go ape shit. My first Defenders, so full of action. So friggin' cool. So, we go to Cobbler's Roost, Vermont. In her relatively short life, the vibrant Valkyrie has never felt quite so alone as she does now. She's come to this town, she's looking for the truth. See? Hulk 126. All that. And this one guy. That's a funny thing. In the 70s, they maintained this Jack Kirby image of, brim hats. I mean, when Ben Grimm, the Thing, would wear a brim hat with a coat, I'm like, that gives it away more than if he didn't have it. So it's just a little snippet in there. This I'm skipping because there's no Valkyrie, but this is one of my first books too. Beautiful John Romita cover. Oofa, that's just stunning. And I like the thing, I didn't know how to say it. I always said Valkyrie. And meanwhile, Cobbler's Roost, this old guy, this whole hobo guy gets kidnapped. Name That Doom. It's a play on words because Name That Tune was a TV show. And accept the destiny that is yours. Goes back in this whole flashback of the previous issue. Let me see. Hang in there. But all my... I'll let you focus. But all my mystic means have failed to locate the old derelict who was also at the subway platform of the previous issue. And then you and I returned to my sanctum. Clea informed us that Val had gone here and had been here and gone with the harmonica. And she told Clea to send her off to get it. It's like the harmonica of destiny. It's one of these really, wild, kind of cosmic things. So he decides to go to a gas station because he needs a map. He doesn't know where he's going. And okay, wham, and it's that bald-bastard, the executioner doing his thing, and I guess they're reacquainted again. They're a team, if not lovers, I don't know. And there's that celestial harmonicky. It goes on. What happened? I've been searching all night. What? Apparently he had been held in some sort of magical prison. Then the mystical force was dispersed. My crystal located him easily, Ben. I caught the glimpse of his captors, the enchanters and the executioners, 2 renegade Asgardians. And when they say his, it's, let me think. I gotta think who he is. I don't know. I lost track of this. Sorry about that. Oh, it is this Denton guy, because Strange says, Ben, this is the man we've been searching for all night. And it's her at last. That's my Barbara. It was the seer. She has no recollection of him. Her mind has been wiped from her era of being Barbara Norris. She is Valkyrie inhabiting Barbara Norris's body. He goes to hug her, his breath fouled with alcohol, and she shoves him aside. It's like, stand away from me. Who are you? And why do you call me Barbara? What? You must know, but unless you're not my daughter. And ta-da, the Trouble Twins show up. By Valhalla, the executioner and the woman I loathe most in this world. She who brought me into being, cursed me with this life without a past, without memory, even of my own father. And she takes away the Valkyrie powers, and she goes back to being the mad woman who was Barbara Norris. That's a great, horrific face. So she gets the celestial harmonica, but little old man Alvin grabs it, and it creates all this cosmic calamity. And I'm like, what? She says, silence, I can't afford no further distractions whilst I tend my will to this task. Alvin Denton, behold, I have made thy daughter whole again, as much as is within my power. Wilt thou save us now? But it doesn't quite happen that way. Stop the enchantress? Yes, I must, but I cannot. I hate her. I wish to help, but I cannot harm her. What can I do? So she goes. After the executioner. What's wrong with you, lady? I was handling it okay. I don't want to get her off my back. So she blasts and blasts, and good old Benji comes along and does a little back slap, and he plays a harmonica, and got that classic Salva Sem flying through the air. Hang on. Okay. We won't have to worry about him for an hour or two. I figured ditto for the Empress. I like how the bleed of the colors and stuff like that. I never noticed that as a kid. It's like the stories and the line art were so crucial to me. But what of he who was called my father? He is dead. The one man who could have told me all about Barbara, her childhood, her likes and dislikes, her bonds with other humans, all the factors that made her a person and without which I am but an empty facade, a fixture. Whatever you are, kid, it ain't that. Or my shoulder wouldn't be getting drenched. Paper dolls don't cry. Only us real people get that problem. That is fantastic. And the Marvel Pt.1 goes over to the Defenders. Gil Kane with a John Romita redraw on the faces and the thing. And maybe he inked it too. I don't know. And she's crushed, understandably. And she's wandering around. Cobbler's Roost. Holy cow, that's that same guy. Van Nyborg didn't even believe me when I told her I spotted her at the town yesterday. Van Nyborg was that guy at the very beginning who had the cult. So she's carrying her dead father. Enters sheriff's office. Barbara, is that really you? Oh, Lord, in your arms. Is that Alvin? May I place him on your couch, Sheriff? Sure. Should I call an ambulance? Is he... of all the rotten, we finally get to see him after 2 whole years, and it has to be like that. What a pity. Try and hang on, Barb. I'll call Henry Todd, the Undertaker, to come get him. If there's anything I can do, don't hesitate to call. Barb, really, you are very kind. I feel as though I'm deserting him, Sheriff. I feel, come on, Barb. It's no good to linger. And it's Tom, like always, not Sheriff, okay? Forgive me. And she just remembered that she doesn't have Barbara's memories. You gonna stay at the old house for a while, Barb, or you be leaving again right away? Old house? I hadn't given it any thought. No, I guess not. Sorry. Let's get some coffee. Let's go to Alice's. Barbara. Goodness, it's been so long. How are you, child? This is one of those small towns that everybody knows everybody. Anyway, Barb, your father left the keys to the place with me if you want them. Jack has a set too. Who is Jack? A family friend? Barbara's brother? Never understood what happened between you and two. You and Jack, I mean. He went all to pieces after you left. I guess any husband would have. Husband? That's when she learns of him. And remember, Barbara Norris knows who he is, but Valkyrie has no idea who he was, that she was even married. Spoke out of turn, huh? I'm sorry, Barb. It's been a bad habit of mine. I guess I didn't mean to upset you. Jack, is he still living here in Cobbler's Roost? Yeah, but you hardly know it. He spends most of his time in his room at the boarding house. I'll take you there if you want. No, I'm not ready to meet him yet. And goes to the old house for families. How old were you when you spent your first summer here? 10, 11? I don't recall. It all seems long ago. Everything does. Opens the door. I'd prefer to go in alone. He's good-hearted, but he never stops asking questions. If he saw the house was unfamiliar to me, that'd be a bad scene. Okay. And Nighthawk shows up. So she's like, I can feel it. This is home. Barbara's telling me. Footsteps, footfalls. Sister Barbara, welcome back to the fold. I've been waiting on you. That dirty SOB. Nyborg. Oh, man, Nyborg wishes he was a cyborg. Dumb joke. I can't edit that out. Well, That portrait. The woman bears a distinct resemblance to Val. Older, more mature, but Celestia, inscription on the harmonica, was the name of Barbara's mother? This really needs to be a movie. I mean, Marvel's been doing some real shit movies. And they really need... This would be fantastic. Or even as a Disney show. Well, this guy takes them out. Now they're a sister of the cult. The former sister of the cult. Sister Celestia has shown the ultimate devotion to her cause by offering her own daughter on the altar of the deed. The nameless ones have pledged to restore her youth and beauty when they arrive. Yeah, right. Then the cavalry comes. Grabs a harmonica, and the demon essence leaves. Gets the tuning fork out of them. And that's it for now. That wraps that part up. Defenders number 21. Great cover by... It's Gil Kane, and I'm certain it is Klaus Janson. Pretty sure. And he takes off. This I loved at the house that she grew up in. What are you reading, Val? I'm not reading, only looking at pictures. I found this old photo album of Barbara's. Parents' room upstairs. I hadn't realized before how many experiences must combine before the son can be called a person. That's a very Steve Gerber kind of straight line that it's almost poetic. And it shows how our Barbara grew. And if I was amnesiac and I saw younger pictures of myself and not recognize them, I would be distraught. It would be very, very unsettling, to put it mildly. Hang on. Here's where we focus. I've been doing so good today. Good Lord, you are married? So I am told, yet I have no recollection of it. I shan't know that either until I confront him, and I must do as soon as possible every day. He is here in Cobbler's Roost. I shall go to him. And he's like, try to understand, as if she slipped her mind she was married. It's like, it did, dickhead. So he's getting attitude. Yeah, I'm taking out of here. I'll give hubby my finest regards. He sounded upset. You were unaware that Nighthawk felt great affection for you? And it's like, don't take it out on her, a-hole. And here's another thing. Actually, this bugs me. This is a great scene, but the Hulk is usually the Hulk when he's angry. And he's smiling here. And that drives me cuckoo, because it's just... You know, he pats the kid on the head, destroys the guy's house. It's like, you know. So back to Cobbler's Roost at Lafferty's boarding house where Jack's supposed to be. This woman is more crossed than her arms. No need to come. You need to come no further yourself, Barbara Norris. I can tell your greedy little hills and get off my property before I call the sheriff. Jack ain't here. You must be Mrs. Lafferty. Would you know where I could find Jack? You figure I'd tell you, even if I knew after you done to that boy, walking out on him, that never. You probably want a divorce and get a chunk of money his father left him. I know you're kind. And blah, 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 blah. She's like, take me home, I beg you. So this is a real painful learning process. So it's like Valkyrie is very tough, but she's not, she's not a hard ass. She has feelings. We've got a visitor. She goes, please don't trouble. All I need is time. And Bruce Banner comes in. And it seems to be our day for calamity. Let's see if anybody famous is here. Nope. You see a lot of names in. So that's it for Barbara right now. We're going to go into this. Bibbidi-bobboo, bibbidi-bobboo. So the Serpents. Wow, this really faded. They're basically the clan with costumes. Love that. She's walking. Where is she walking? Don't know. She's just walking the streets, trying to get familiar or come to terms with things. She sees two men fighting, stops it, and this guy's about to stab her, and all of a sudden his sword comes out, takes both guys out after trying to plead with them to not fight. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Did I do the correct thing, Stefan, bringing her here? This is a girl that she rescued from a slum that had rats and had a baby with. And I could not leave her in that sword set, yet others still dwell in that loathsome state. This is your first experience with poverty, isn't it? I can sense the frustration you feel. And give me a second. Oh. Bear with me a second. He's looking at Val through the window. It's her. It's true. I can hardly believe it. This is it. You want to get off your spooky looking joint, but you're the boss. Driver. The world is a spooky looking place. Hey, you at the window, what do you think you're doing? Nothing. I was just looking. Well, I'll bet you were. What do you expect to see? Come back. No points chasing him after all. He looked like another neighborhood screwball. And that was Nighthawk. A big thing about the 70s, and actually the 60s too, is the hair color. All of a sudden, Cal Richmond's blonde, and he's been like, his hair's been brown for so long. Let's see. So there's that. I may have to make this a two-parter because I'm going into an hour here. And I wanted to give you satisfaction. So it's the Sons of the Serpent again, first appearance in Old Avengers book. Here's one of the Sons of the Serpent. There's a guy. Looks like we're being watched. It's true, somebody's out there. So Yellow Jacket zaps the stranger. That's what's cool though, is like Yellow Jacket shows up on the scene. And he had last been in Avengers. And this is probably the coolest that Yellow Jacket has been. And I really hoped he would be a defender. He just kind of fit that, I thought. See, there's Hulk playing with the little kid, but if he's happy, why is he Hulk? So they zap the guy, and they charge towards him, and they go, he does not seem to be one of the Sons of the Serpent, but then who? Speak, my curious friend. Who are you, and what purpose have you come? You mean you don't know me? You've got to know me. You love me. I'm Jack Norris. I'm your husband, Barbara. Sorry about that, everybody. My dogs decided to go hog wild. They're sweet little pups, but they make a lot of noise. I'm your husband, Barbara. Clunk.
and clink. For a long moment, she stares at the face of the handsome young man, but it remains a face of a stranger to her. For though Val inhabits the body of Barbara Denton Norris, the body of this man's wife, she possesses none of Barbara's memories. Inexplicably horrified and revolted by Jack Norris's presence, the swordswoman averts her eyes and darts back to the house, leaving her compatriots and her conjugal partner behind. Am I getting slow my age, or does this business really not make sense? A little bit later, Val returns. She's like minutes later. They're worried about her. There's no need to whisper, Stefan. No need for concern. I've regained my composure, and I've not forgotten my responsibility. So, the Sons of Serpent, they're all hateful and shit, you know. And there's a big... Steve Gerber loved to write these long things, whether it was Man-Thing or Howard the Duck, or anything. So, well, Jack is still around. I gotta see this real quick. Well, there's some panels where Jack's like completely forgotten because there's so much going on. But you're going off to leave them, leaving me behind? Why? What can you do to help? You really don't believe you're some sort of Amazon. I am no longer the woman you wed, Mr. Norris. Whatever vows we took must bind us no more. My place now can only be alongside the defenders. Ouch. And that's it for this issue. And coming up, should I even end this here? I don't know. My throat's going raw. And neat cover. Talk about a squished in cover, fitting everybody in there. Well, Bob McLeod, to me, that's the earliest work of his, and it's just sensational from the start. He's just a magician. Well, they get caught in these stone serpents. She breaks free, and she gets to kicking some ass, but then one of the serpents is a woman underneath, and I can't hit a woman, so she gets zapped. Meanwhile, the rest of the defenders are around. And Luke Cage is there helping out. And there's no time to talk. They look on TV. Valkyrie, sorry. She's helpless. And Jack Norris says, they want to make a sacrifice of my wife's murder. I told her not to go. I told her not to trust you costume maniacs. I was right. You led her to her death. Look what you've done. Out of my way. I've got to get her. Got to save my Barbara. And they see that she's being crucified upside down. And here come the defenders. But they get taken out by sheer numbers. And next issue, you know, if you were like a designer, like a graphic designer, half of Gil Kane's covers would probably be a no-no. These are just great comic book covers. They're just bizarre, having to squish all these characters in. So what happens is things are still going bad. Out of the blue comes Jack. And even before the sightless superhero can act, meaning Daredevil, the figure darts from the crowd. No! An ordinary man named Jack Norris, who happens to be the warrior woman's husband. And the rest are looking. They see they're actually kind of inspired. What's the matter with us? I mean, I got love for the, he almost says the word, but the blacks. So they join in.
and they're outnumbering the Serpents, which is great. And let's see. Try to see what else I can see. Oh, you all right, Mr. Norris? Just shaking up. I'll be okay. But Barbara. And back at Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum. You sure you're okay, Barb? You've been through so much. I appreciate all you've done, Mr. Norris, but remove your hand from me. How about that? And it's time to wrap it up. Beat the shit out of these guys. And that's it. This is the end of part 1. I am like 4 minutes into an hour, and that's usually my long episodes. And I really had to research this, and I really appreciate if you've watched this. And then I'm going to go into the story of the Guardians of the Galaxy, where they meet the Defenders, and then we learn more about Jack, Norris, and Valkyrie's relationship. And there's a lot more to cover. So I hope you enjoyed this and you don't mind this being a two-parter. That's it, everybody.